On June 10, 2026, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, announced a delay, not a small delay. A 12-month delay on the construction of its most advanced fabrication plant in Kaohsiung, a plant designed to produce 2-nanometer chips, the absolute cutting edge of artificial intelligence hardware. The official reason was not geopolitical tension, not a trade war, not even a pandemic. It was water. The company could not secure a water supply agreement with the local government. Southern Taiwan was in the grip of a severe drought, reservoirs at 18% capacity, and local farmers were protesting any new allocation of water to industrial users. Now, you might think a construction delay at one company, even TSMC, is a business story, a supply chain hiccup. But if you look closer, if you follow the chain of evidence from a single report published the day before, you realize this is not a business story. This is a story about the physical limits of our technological civilization, and about a blind spot so large that the world's most powerful governments, the most sophisticated corporations, and the most respected researchers all missed it until it was too late. The report was published on June 9, 2026, by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a Washington, D.C. think tank. The author was Dr. Mei-Lin Chen, a Taiwanese-American supply chain researcher who had spent 15 years studying semiconductor risks. Dr. Chen was not an alarmist. She had a reputation for data-driven, cautious predictions. During the COVID-19 pandemic, she had advised the U.S. government on chip shortages. Her 2024 paper on what she called concentrated fabrication risks have been cited by the CHIPS Act Oversight Committee. She was the kind of researcher who was respected across partisan lines because she did not advocate for policy. She only presented data. Her 2026 report was titled, Taiwan's Silicon Shield, AI Hardware Resilience Under Threat. The central finding was staggering. 92% of advanced AI chips, those built on 7-nanometer technology and below, were produced in Taiwan. Not in the United States, not in Japan, not in Europe. In Taiwan, and within Taiwan, production was concentrated in just 2 locations, the Hsinchu Science Park in the north and the Tainan Science Park in the south. 2 watersheds. That was it. 90-2% of the world's most advanced AI hardware came from 2 small regions on one island. The report did not stop there. Dr. Chen had interviewed 20 semiconductor executives for this study, and what she found was a systematic blind spot. TSMC's own risk assessments focused on earthquakes and war. The company had contingency plans for a Chinese invasion, for a major seismic event, for a power grid failure. But no one, not TSMC, not the U.S. Department of Defense, not the Taiwanese government, had modeled what would happen if the water simply stopped being available, not because of a blockade, but because of a drought that climate models had been predicting for years. On June 10th, the same day, TSMC announced the delay. A separate internal report from the U.S. Department of Defense was leaked to the press. The DoD report estimated that a single disruption to Taiwan's semiconductor supply chain, a disruption lasting just 72 hours, would halt 90% of global AI hardware reproduction. Not 90% of consumer electronics. 90% of the chips used in military drones, satellite systems, and AI-driven defense networks. The report revealed that the United States had no operational backup plan. Stockpiles covered only 30 days of critical chips. After that, the world would be running on whatever was already in the pipeline. Now, you might ask, why should we care about one company's construction delay? Because that delay is a signal. It is a signal that the system we have built, the entire global AI infrastructure, is more fragile than anyone wanted to admit. Let me take you back to the beginning of this chain. In March of 2025, TSMC announced plans for a 2-nanometer fabrication plant in Kaohsiung. The plant was expected to be completed by 2027. It would require 150,000 tons of water every single day. Not just any water, ultra-pure water, processed to remove nearly all minerals and contaminants, water that is more expensive to produce than gasoline. A 2-nanometer fab uses ultra-pure water at volumes never before managed in human history. By January of 2026, southern Taiwan had entered its third year of drought. Reservoirs dropped to 18% capacity. Local farmers who had already lost crops in previous dry seasons protested any new water allocation to industrial users. The Taiwanese government had promised during the 2021 drought to build a dedicated reservoir for TSMC, but that reservoir was never completed. Environmental lawsuits and local opposition had blocked it. So when TSMC went to negotiate a water supply agreement for the Kaohsiung fab, they hit a wall. Not a political wall, not a military wall, a democratic wall. Farmers and environmental groups had a voice, and they used it. This is where the story gets complicated. The dominant narrative about Taiwan's semiconductor industry is that its vulnerability is entirely about China. A Chinese military exercise in May of 2026 simulated a 72-hour blockade of the Taiwan Strait. Global tech stocks dropped 8% in a single day. But the TSMC delay was not caused by China. It was caused by a water rights dispute between a company and its own local community. The vulnerability was not external aggression. It was internal environmental limits. Dr. Chen's research revealed something even more uncomfortable. TSMC's own resilience measures, the things they had done to prepare for disaster, were not scalable. The company recycled 87% of its water, an impressive number for any industrial facility. But a 2-nanometer fab is not any industrial facility. It requires ultra-pure water at volumes that exceed the recycling capacity of existing plants. During the 2021 drought, TSMC had to truck water in tankers, costing $100 million and risking production. That worked for a few weeks. It would not work for months, and a 2-nanometer fab would need even more. The company had contingency plans for desalination, but internal documents obtained by Dr. Chen showed that desalination would increase chip costs by 30% and was not scalable for the volumes required by a 2-nanometer fab. So the official story, the story that TSMC was resilient, that they had contingency plans, that the delay was routine, that story began to crack. Now, let me bring in a branch that adds pressure from a different direction. On June 8, 2026, just 2 days before the TSMC announcement, the Japan Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry released a separate report. It revealed that TSMC's Kumamoto fab in Japan was also facing water shortages. Not as severe as Taiwan, but real. Local aquifers were being depleted faster than they could recharge. Japan was now fast-tracking the construction of desalination plants. But desalination plants take years to build and cost billions. The point is this: water is not just a Taiwan problem. It is a global semiconductor problem. Even the so-called diversified locations face the same physical limits. This brings us to the deeper question that Dr. Chen's report forces us to confront. The world has been operating on the assumption that the AI revolution is inevitable, that the hardware will be there, that the supply chain will adapt, that technology will solve its own problems. But what if the bottleneck is not technology? What if it is water? What if the most advanced chips in the world, the chips that power the AI models we are building our future on, end on a single watershed in a drought-prone region? And what if that watershed is running out? Climate models from Taiwan's Central Weather Bureau predict that by 2030, southern Taiwan will experience a 40% reduction in annual rainfall. Even without a war, even without a blockade, the water supply for 2-nanometer fabs may become physically impossible for 6 months of the year. That is not a political risk. That is a physical limit. No amount of policy, no amount of negotiation, no amount of corporate contingency planning can overcome a 40% reduction in rainfall. Let me go back to Dr. Chen's earlier work. In 2024, she published a paper on concentrated fabrication risks, She predicted a 60% chance of a supply chain shock by 2027 based on natural disaster patterns. She was dismissed as alarmist. Her colleagues said she was overestimating the probability of a drought, that TSMC's water management was world-class, that the Taiwanese government would step in. But in 2026, her prediction is being taken seriously, not because she was right, but because the event happened exactly as she described. A drought, a water rights dispute, a delay. It was all there in her 2024 paper. Now, there are opposing views. Taiwanese government officials argue that the drought is cyclical. They say TSMC's water management, recycling 87%, makes the risk manageable. They claim the Kaohsiung delay is a routine adjustment, not a crisis. But this view downplays the severity of the water issue. A 2-nanometer fab requires ultra-pure water at volumes never before managed in a drought. Recycling 87% is impressive, but it still leaves 13% that must come from somewhere. And when the reservoirs are at 18%, that somewhere does not exist. Some U.S. tech analysts argue that AI hardware resilience is overblown. They say companies can redesign chips for older nodes, 7-nanometer or 10-nanometer, which are already produced in multiple countries. They say AI workloads can be scaled down temporarily. But this ignores a critical fact. Leading-edge AI models like GPT-6 or Gemini-3 require 2-nanometer chips for cost and efficiency. Falling back to older nodes would increase energy consumption by 400% and reduce capability. The entire economic model of the AI industry is built on the assumption that 2-nanometer chips will be available. If they are not, the industry does not slow down. It breaks. Let me bring in another branch. The U.S. has invested heavily in TSMC's Arizona fabs, $40 billion. Japan has invested $20 billion in Kumamoto. But these fabs are producing 5-nanometer and 3-nanometer chips, not 2-nanometer. The most advanced node, the one that matters for next-generation AI, is still only in Taiwan. The diversification efforts are 2 generations behind. The so-called globalization of TSMC is a 5 to 10-year project. The risk is immediate. So, where does this leave us? Drive. Chen's report documents a single point of failure for the global AI hardware supply chain. The DoD internal report confirms that the United States has no backup plan. The TSMC delay in Kaohsiung shows that the failure point is not just geopolitical, it is environmental, and the climate model suggests that the problem will only get worse. The deeper question is not whether we can build more fabs. It is whether we can build a civilization that depends on a resource that is running out. Water. Not oil, not rare earth minerals, not silicon. Water. The most basic element of life. And we have built the most advanced technology in human history on the assumption that water will always be there. Dr. Chen is not a policy advocate. She is a researcher. Her job is to present data. And the data says that the narrative of Taiwan's resilience is a comforting myth. The island is not resilient. Its water supply is vulnerable. Its democratic processes can slow down the most critical industry, and the world has no plan for what happens when that industry stops. On June 11, 2026, the Taipei Times published a front-page article summarizing Dr. Chen's report and its implications. The article was read by policymakers in Washington, Tokyo, and Brussels. But the question remains, what do they do with this information? Do they build desalination plants? Do they accelerate diversification? Do they accept that the AI revolution may slow down? Or do they continue to believe that technology will save itself? The answer is not in the report. The answer will be in the decisions made in the next 12 months. Because the delay in Kaohsiung is not a delay. It is a warning. And the clock is ticking. What if the real threat to the AI revolution is not a foreign adversary, not a trade war, not a pandemic, but a drought in a small region on an island that the world depends on more than it wants to admit? What if the foundation of our technological future is made of sand and water, and the water is running out? That is the question. Drive. Chen's report leaves us with. And it is a question that does not have an easy answer.